Hello everybody, welcome back to 10 Minute Reviews. Jason here bringing you today's video. As always guys, please hit those like and subscribe buttons. We've got a ton of content that we come out with. We're trying to review as many books as possible. Also, don't forget to check the links down below for links to today's book, any other applicable links. This is our Discord channel, and anything else we can think of. Please check it out through the links. One of our fans asked us to set ourselves up with the Amazon affiliates so we could use the traffic through those links. Otherwise, once again, thank you everybody for joining us, and I'm going to go ahead and get right into today's video. So today's video, we're going to be talking about a book that I've talked about in the past, and an author I've talked about in the past, G.S. DMoore, I guess is how it's pronounced, but his Adventures of Grave, Book 2. So as you guys know, one of my favorite genres within this subgenre, I suppose. Anyway, one of my favorite genres, superhero type novels. And Adventures of Grave is one that I'd stumbled across a few months back, and the sequel just came out. Not too long ago, so I pretty much devoured it all in one go. And it was just as good as the first. It kind of expanded upon the world a little bit more. So as you guys know from the first one, we've got Marcus, aka Grave, who is, I can't say a survivor, because as we saw in the first book, he actually had died. And he was a criminal in a world that was kind of like our world adjacent. He was, it was kind of a modern times thing, modern buildings, technology, all of that. And he was a criminal. He was a criminal, kind of like a low-level mobster, mid-level mobster kind of thing. You'd almost look at like the captain of a crew sort of thing. And he was very, very good at it. Excellent thief, excellent mobster, excellent criminal. The typical small bit of a moral code-ish, more of a loyalty towards those who he should be loyal towards, but otherwise screw everybody else and let me see who I can take advantage of kind of thing. And he died. Now there were the beginnings of superpowers right around the time of his death, but the world really went to hell afterwards. And through hand-wavium, almost through a sort of an experiment or an unknown ooze almost, he was basically resurrected. And now he's in a world where this virus that was sweeping through the world when the last time he was alive, has run its course. And this virus killed something like 95% of all men, and a smaller portion of women, and then granted superpowers. And they're the typical, like you see in a lot of superhero books, they're typical scales, A, B, C class, stuff like that. And he came back with superpowers of his own. Now he was basically almost like an A class as far as his strength, his durability, stuff like that. But what he also discovered that he had magic, and magic is in a whole other class of its own. And there were hints in the first book of how he had this potential to be an extraordinarily powerful wizard, magic user rather, and how he was potentially one of the stronger beings on the planet, or had the ability to eventually get there. And he got his little crew put together. You got Gabby and Roberto. You've got the super strong A class that's also rich, and then you've got the genius one. It's a little bit squishier, but is a genius for sure. And the way a lot of this world has shifted is pretty interesting, because now, since you've got such a huge portion of men that had been killed by this virus, that explains how the whole harem concepts come into play. When you have one male for every like 20-30 women, something along those lines, then just for the continuum of our species, there's got to be a lot more than just single partnerships going on. But along with that, almost everything has flipped. Now, all what in our society, in our world, are male-dominated type professions, such as military special forces, SWAT teams, even upper level businessmen, things like that. It's now pretty much entirely female. Now men are the harassed gender on the subway and stuff like that, and people it's expected that women are buying a man a drink, men aren't paying for their own meals, aren't paying for their own drinks, stuff along those lines. Of course, again, the harassment, things like that he showcases a few times within this book. So in book 2 now, we've got this group that is slowly building, Grave and his women, and he wants to continue with his life of crime, basically. This time around, we're going to rob a bank. Now, he's got a little bit of a base that he got in book 1, but he doesn't deal with that a whole lot. So, one of his women, super rich, but he can't keep pulling money from them. He needs to have his own clean money, basically. His version of clean money, of course, is stolen by himself. And they plan a bank heist. Now, bank heists get very interesting in a world full of superpowers and governments that are fairly weak, so they can't have the financial side of things crumble. So there's a lot more structure, a lot more protections, a lot more guarantees. So nobody's successfully robbed a bank in decades in this world. So that's what Marcus is going to do. Now, through the adventures of robbing the bank and doing what needs to be done in order to rob a bank, we get introduced to further introduced to some of the other superpowered beings, such as Ranger, one of the few male super beings, and he's actually considered the most powerful of them all. So we've got this world where everything is flipped gender role wise, and yet at the very, very top of power still is one male, and he is very old fashioned, which causes a few other things and some of the side interactions that go on. You get a few issues because of how old-fashioned he is. We get introduced to some of the women that are super, super, super powerful. Marcus gets to show off a few things and develop a few new tricks, and he also develops a really interesting new superpower that ends up adding a little bit to his life and his team. All in all, it's a fun book. I know I'm kind of droning on this one, but there's so many different things, but it's a fun book. It's just a straight fun book. So if you like superhero, if you like harem lit, just if you like a good, entertaining, fairly quick read, check out Adventures of Grave 2. Well, check out 1 if you haven't already, and then check out 2 by G.S. DMoore. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We will catch you next time. Bye now.